They were one of the most intense groups in the history of music. Their lack of talent, skill, polish, and likability somehow skyrocketed them to the top of the regional indie charts. They had a no-holds-barred attitude on and off stage and refused to make compromises, like rehearsing or doing sound checks. But like many great bands, egos got in the way and the band split up, only to get back together a year later for a reunion show that would be their last. This is Baby Loves Headrub.
Because David likes to race. When he flies by, he says, I really hope he never dies. If it happened, I would cry. He's on the rise.
The members of Baby Loves Headrub came from humble beginnings. Luke Ranholm was raised by a single father in the backwoods of West Virginia. He started playing music as a toddler, learning all the jug band instruments of his hillbilly ancestors. Little is known about Kevin Teeling's past, other than he was adopted by a family of Gibbons on the Indonesian island of Sumatra when he was 3 years old. When he turned 15, he left the island to pursue his humanity and a music career. Birth records show Kyle Erickson was born in 1990 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, though he later claimed to be a trans-terrestrial being from an interdimensional plane known as the Void. Luke and Kyle first formed the group in early 2006.
So, how did the band get together?
Well, actually, it's kind of a silly story. Well, you see, when I was 15 and Luke was 16, we both just happened to be recruited by the CIA to use their secret time machine and go back to 1987 to sell crack to fund the Contras. Well, after we did that for a little bit, we ended up becoming good friends, and when we finished all that Iran-Contra nonsense, we decided to start a band.
Kevin quickly joined the fold after Luke and Kyle found him playing for tips outside of an empty Denny's restaurant. They struggled greatly during the early days, but they managed to round out the band with substitute drummer Mike Steele, and they hired Kyle's stepbrother to manage them.
That's how I got into managing the band, is Kyle said, you remember those guys you met at Bonnaroo? And I said, no, because I was on a lot of LSD at the time. And he said, you remember, if I showed you a picture of them, would you remember them? I said, maybe. So he showed me a picture and I still didn't remember. And he said, well, here they are, and they're a band, and I want you to manage them. Well, I remember they didn't have a guitar for the first 4 years, and they would just say, Tobias, give us your guitar. You can't even play it really. You kind of suck. You're never gonna do anything with it. You're no good. Just stop what is that? You call that music, Tobias? Give us your guitar. But I think that really influenced them as a band, really. Because they didn't, what's the right word? They didn't know what they were doing, but that was what they were about.
They began saving their money from frequent plasma donations to pay for studio time, where they met their longtime producer, Chip Whipley.
When I first met the group, they came into the studio and they didn't even seem to know how to play the instruments. And I told them, that's raw, that's cathartic, don't change a thing, it's perfect, just edgy, just exactly what I was looking for.
Baby Loves Headrub began to gain notoriety as they played to sellout crowds in basements and truck stop diners.
The worst one we had was they were in it was a dive bar. Luke was drunk. Kevin was not, so he was even worse than Luke. And between the two of them, they were tasered 4 times by me in the course of 30 minutes because they just kept eating everything there. Luke grabbed 4 cans of sardines and just right down his throat, and I said, Luke, you're gonna choke on because you can't eat 10. And he said, I can eat 10 if I want to. I'm Luke. And I said, Luke, that's not very healthy. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm gonna tase you twice now because you did that. And I did. And I tased him.
In addition to their offstage shenanigans, their onstage antics also drew a lot of attention from fans and peers.
Baby Loves Headrub, they had the craziest stage show that I've ever seen. It was raw, it was edgy, throwing feces like monkeys, doing crazy things on stage. Iggy Pop, he one time crashed a glass bottle and cut his chest open and profusely bled all over the stage. Well, Kyle got the good idea to, imitate Iggy, and he used a tin can and ended up with botulism. I remember one show in particular when they got especially crazy. They're playing next door to a zoo, and beforehand the show they decided to break into the zoo and break out some of these monkeys and fucking penguins and bring them on stage with them. And what they didn't realize is that the monkeys and the penguins wouldn't get along.
After countless hours on the stage and in the studio, Baby Loves Headrub finally broke through in 2008 with their single, David the Red Rocket.
Well, I remember when they were recording it, I said, it's a shit. Why can't we just do more Oasis covers like we've always done? That's what this band's sort of about. And he said, we're sick of Oasis covers, we're not going to do Oasis anymore, we want to be famous. And I said, well, Oasis is how you become famous. Where I'm from, none of the bands made it who didn't do at least 3 Oasis covers an album. So it was weird. I was weirded out a little bit by that they didn't want to do an Oasis cover. And I said, well, do you want to do a Soundgarden cover then? Like, what do you want to do? And they said, no, we have this original song. And I said, original song? No offense, but you've been playing my guitar for the last 4 years. I'm pretty sure Luke doesn't know more than 3 chords. And I don't know if he knows the name for 2 of them.
The song was written as a tribute to their friend and muse, David Strandberg, a special needs child they had met through the Children's Death Wish Foundation.
So they said, all right, we're going to do this song. And I said, good, you should do the song if you want to. They recorded it in Kevin's bathroom, in his water closet. They recorded it for 4 hours straight, and they was just in the tub singing to each other. And they came out and they said, we got the record, we're here, we got it, here it is, give this to someone to play it. And I said, well, I don't know how to do that, do I? Because up until this point I'd sort of been faking it. So I had to learn how to manage a band right there once they actually recorded something.
Fortunately, the group was able to take advantage of online distribution, and the song went viral, garnering over 300 hits on their MySpace website. On the heels of the success of David the Red Rocket, they released their debut album, Summer Songs for Winter Lovers. By the end of 2008, Baby Loves Headrub had become a force to be reckoned with. But the new fame and fortune bred contempt between the band members. Luke's presence began to diminish.
Luke was actually absent quite a lot, And one time we were supposed to be playing a show at the CBGBs, and Luke was late as usual, and when he didn't show up, the bloody crowd started to riot and fucking tear the place to bits. And
Luke isn't here. The whole thing's foobar. It's just foobar, and I had to sweep a little girl off the stage just now.
It turned out that Luke had fallen down a well. Another time we are going to be receiving the Grammy for Most Improved Band, and Luke was nowhere to be found again, and we were all very upset with Luke and decided we were going to kick him out of the band, but we changed our mind when we found out that he had been abducted by this perverted scientist who turned him into a human centipede.
With Luke gone all the time, Kevin and Kyle made a bulk of the public appearances.
Welcome to Metalhead Mastodon Metropolis. I'm here with Kevin from Baby Loves Headrub and Kyle from Baby Loves Headrub. How's it going, guys? Sweet. Okay, there are the 2 of you here. But there's 3 members of the group, so, some fans may be asking, where's Luke?
Team Choice Awards.
It's presenting for Best Heavy Petting Scene.
Yes, he did. Hello, it's me, the band manager. I'm here for the shooting as well. I put a lot of time into it.
What is being successful like?
Incredible. What do you think it feels like?
It's great. It's the best.
Success is an illusion, just like failure.
What future projects do you have?
We got a couple of trap mixtapes coming out. We got Trap Money Trillionaires.
Yeah, we got this other one coming out. It's called Baby Loves Headrub Presents July Reminiscences, and it's an album entirely produced by the band with the instruments entirely played by farm animals.
Sweet.
keep getting more groupies, we're going to keep getting more money, and we're going to keep having fun. This is like the Sarah Palin train to success. It doesn't stop.
Adding to the already volatile mix of fame and fortune was their appetite for excess. Kyle developed a hardcore addiction to birth control pills, and Kevin's newly developed phobia of seasons had him going through 3 bottles of NyQuil a day and 2 bottles of Dayquil a night.
Basically, I have this really strong belief that nature is connected with me. I come from nature, I come from the ground, I believe in evolution. As a result, I'm very affected by seasons. So I've never had really a good season in my life. Never really been happy in winter, spring, summer, fall. Since David the Red Rocket just blew up, well, of course it did, but thought that would make me happy. But still, the seasons aren't cooperating. They're not realizing my talent. They're not realizing what's happening. As a result, I've been kind of isolating myself a lot from people.
Even their partying started to get out of control.
You would party like 3 times a month sometimes, this crazy shit, and I couldn't get you out of it.
You see my needle?
No, Kevin, I haven't seen the needle.
See my fucking, it's fucking hot.
Kevin, stop. Where's Kyle? Why is Kyle on the ground?
Have you seen, give me my needle.
Kevin, stop it for a second. Just stop. Hello. Time to wake up.
He's gone. I hate the summer.
Use the, there's no needles here.
Do you know who I am?
Smoke some methamphetamines through this light.
Do you know who I am?
Use this light bulb to smoke some methamphetamines.
In mid-2009, the band was dealt a terrible blow when Luke was incarcerated on assault charges.
Well, we played a gig at the Macaroni Out Center, a gala there, and after the show, we brought home 5 Eastern European hand models, and we couldn't find any drugs.
Luke Granholm said, hey, why don't we smoke some methamphetamines? And he said, we don't have any methamphetamines. And he said, well, we got this, don't we? And he took it out, and it was my acne medication that I left on the table. And he said, what do we smoke some of this?
Luke started freaking out and thought one of the models was a television set. And when she wouldn't change channels, he tossed her out the window. Fucking crazy.
I was sleeping because I was on a lot of painkillers at the time, and I heard this loud crash and a scream, and I get up and I says, what the bobby's going on here? And one of the models out the window.
Luke was sentenced to 2 years in the state penitentiary, and the band continued their downward spiral.
Well, it seems the members of Baby Loves Headrub just can't stay out of trouble. While accordion, harmonica, mandolin, spoon player Luke Granholm sits in jail on assault charges, frontman Kevin Grandma Pickles Teeling was caught by our cameras jaywalking yesterday.
Basically, I was just walking across the street like I usually do, and for some reason, this cop asshole says, you're breaking the law, you're jaywalking. Not a bird.
Shortly after Kevin and Luke's run-ins with the law, Kyle made some controversial statements on the radio. We're back here on the Midday Menagerie with Sparky Cornwallis and the Zoo Crew here on 101.7. We're talking to Baby Loves Headrub. Guys, you riding high off your single David the Red Rocket. How does that feel? It's nuts, man. I mean, I've been stopped like 2 or 3 times on the street just in the past 6 months probably. I'd say at this point we're bigger than the Beatles right now. I don't mean greater or more popular than the Beatles. We're just a much better band than they are.
And it had quite a backlash from the community. I remember Ringo Starr was actually sending detached baby heads full of feces in the mail to the band. He was so upset. I remember the Pope calling the Americas and saying, Baby Loves Headrub thinks they're bigger than the Beatles, therefore they're bigger than Jesus. And he said, well, Jesus was 8'4", so that's freaking impossible.
There was strong backlash from the public as well.
Don't forget what Baby Loves Headrub has said. The Beatles are America's native son. They are blaspheming this country by not paying homage to the most highly respectable force in music is despicable. So we here at 1017 invite everyone in the area to stop by the station and drop off any Baby Loves Headrub CDs and merchandise for our bonfire and marshmallow roast this Friday night. Sponsored by Hot Randy's Fireplace and S'more Emporium, serving the area's fireplace and s'more needs since 1922.
He made a comment that was true, and oftentimes prophets get harassed and they get punished.
Well, the
for
immediate
saying the
after
truth.
effects. They say there's no show business like bad show business, and I want to agree with that. We got a lot of for all the negativity, Kevin still got a lot of advertisements in Cosmopolitan, and Ricky Gervais was talking with him about a soap that they wanted to make together, Kevin and Ricky's soap.
I'm not going to sit here and say that we're not bigger than the Beatles, because we are, and I will stand by Kyle's statement. I support my band members, and I support myself.
A few months later, Luke got out of jail early for his service as a prison snitch. After several contentious attempts to start recording their second album, Baby Loves Headrub split up.
So, Kevin, we just got the message, apparently happened just recently, that Baby Loves Headrub is broken up. Is there, a reason for it?
Yeah, Luke was always absent. Kyle, he was never on my level. And I knew if I went solo, it was done. I was going to be a millionaire.
It could have been Kyle's addiction to birth control pills. It could have been the time that Kevin threw that amplified Luke's head. Or maybe when Luke retaliated by running Kevin's girlfriend over with an SUV. It's hard to say. It could have just been egos. Maybe Baby Loves Headrub had bigger heads than they thought.
I don't think it was the egos that were too big so much as everyone just thought they were better than everyone else. It was a trying time. Kevin was doing a lot of side projects. I was doing a lot of mescaline at the time, so I don't really remember much of it. But basically what happened was Luke said, I'm done here. I'm not going to be here anymore. I don't want to be here with you people. You people are stupid. Just a lot of really offensive things to the band and to us. And I said, fine, you can leave. And you know what? I'll leave too. Because I agree with you.
Kevin, Luke, and Kyle were out of contact for almost 2 years, but they each kept busy. Kevin continued to release music and star in television.
So, do you have any future projects that we can look forward to?
Yeah. Yeah. I play the history professor at the Noggin Network in the show Teenager Hormone's iPad Hookup Villa.
Oh, cool.
But watch out for my new album, Thrillers, coming out soon.
Kyle spent his time meditating in a hyperbolic time chamber, re-emerging as a failed cult leader and entrepreneur.
Yes, I suppose it was difficult back in those days. My comedy club / pool hall / Waffle House was a failure, but what I got out of that was more valuable than money or waffles. I learned that I am not of this planet. My terrestrial body is a temple to rock and roll. I come from the void to speak to you and teleport the whole world through my music. These woods are my concert hall now, where I play my cosmic symphonies.
Luke took off to the jungles of South Africa, where he lived in a treehouse and married his banjo. Each of them had failed spectacularly, even Kevin. Teenager Hormone iPad Hookup Villa had failed to draw enough tween viewers during Sweeps Week, and his Michael Jackson remake album Thriller was a dud. They decided it might be best to get back together. Their reunion show was a performance as the opening act for Steve Miller's Ghost at Ozfest 2012, just outside the Corn Dog tent. time they were ever seen. Immediately after the show, they disappeared without a trace. Investigators were baffled.
Baby Loves Headrub, they, had the reunion show at Ozfest, and all was good, and people were happy, and, after the show, they disappeared, dropped off the face of the earth, and some say they were in the Appalachian Mountains, up in the range there, making their way around. Someone said that Kyle brought a case of cough syrup, and strange things just happened. Some say they met Bigfoot, and taught him how to cook Creole. Some say they were abducted by aliens and actually went to learn a new form of music on a different planet. I don't know what happened to them after that reunion show at Ozfest, Part of me thinks they're buried somewhere, or holed up somewhere drinking lots of cough syrup. Part of me thinks they all grew beards and bought a naval ship and are out playing music for pirates or something.
No one could have been more upset than longtime manager Tibius Frontispiece. But even though he is now only a homeless grifter, he takes everything in stride, just as he says the Rub would have wanted him to.
There's an old saying where I'm from. You can take the goat out of goat speed, but you can't take the eye out of love. And I think that's true right now.
Well, I pawned my Smith and Wesson, and I went to meet my astronaut. She hangs out on down on Jupiter, and she hangs out on Venus Park. David Strandberg, fly me higher. I think I'm taking off, and I'm all strung out on heroin on the outskirts of town.
Hey, where'd Luke go?